Welcome everyone to today's session on Canva Basics. I am Leena Jo, the Public Relations Manager of District 100 this year. Before we get into the session today, I wanted to share a little bit about myself and my journey with this field of public relations. I joined Toastmasters 4.5 years ago, and the very first officer role that I took up was that of VPPR. So I have been playing the public relations role in some capacity over the last 4 years. Now, why did I take up that role? That is something I have to really ask my mentor, Angel Lorena, who is the district director of District 100 this year, because I wasn't anywhere close to the ballpark area of public relations. In fact, the first social media ID, Facebook ID that was created for me was done by some of my friends because I didn't know how to create my own Facebook ID. And today I am the public relations manager of a district. So how did this happen? As I took on the role of VPPR, I got to learn a lot from various seasoned Toastmasters who are experienced in the field. We have my current mentor, Julie Murphy, in the meeting today. She's also someone who I learn from on a daily basis. So as a VPPR, if you are playing this role for the first time, or as we have Pam here, who's an area director and is looking to design content, my message for you is you do not have to be an expert. This is something that you can learn as you go along. And today's training is something that we will be going back to the basics. We're going to break it down and see how we can create content, not just create content, but try to be efficient about it. Because at the end of the day, we are one person, or some of us might have a team working on our PR efforts, but there is a constraint of time. This is not something that we can spend a lot of time with. So today we're going to see how we can create content and in an efficient manner. So that way we can make sure that we're doing our social media promotions in a timely way without having to spend too much time on it. So with that, I'm going to quickly share my screen. And this is the agenda that we are going to be covering today. I'm going to show you right from the first step of how do you create a Canva account if your club does not have one as on date. Then I'm going to quickly show you some of the Canva menu features. We're going to be spending some time on how to set up the Toastmasters International brand kit on Canva. And this is important because this is a one-time activity. Once you set it up, then you are sorted for the rest of the year or years to come, unless maybe they change any of the brand colors in the following years. So it is a one-time activity that you can easily get out of your way as soon as you set up your Canva account. Then we'll talk about some of the features and how to create a poster. We'll also talk about some features which will help create multiple posters within a few seconds, which is the bulk create feature. And yes, I'll also touch a little bit about how to resize designs for different social media platforms. So whether it's Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, each of these have got their own dimensions. So it is important for us to create content fitting those dimensions, because that's when the best impact of those flyers will be visualized. And I'll also finally be showing you some examples of some of the various posters that I have come across, some which I created myself, that will help you get ideas as to how you can create content and ensure that you have a sustaining social media calendar for the entire year.
Leena, we
So
have a request in chat. Could you either put it in presentation or reading mode, the presentation?
yeah, no, I'll be moving back to the
Okay.
Canva screen now. So that's why I didn't bring it up. I'll just quickly post that agenda slide alone in the chat so that all of you are able to keep that copy of the agenda with you, and I'll be moving back to screen sharing because I'm going to go into the Canva page. So the first 5 that you see here, the ones that are in the maroon color, the first 5, these will be a live demo. So I'll be moving into the Canva page to show you those. And we'll come back to the presentation for the last 2, which is point 6 and point 7 in the agenda. We'll come back to the presentation for that. So let me quickly move into Canva. This is how, when you log into Canva for the first time, this is what you see. So the ID is www.canva.com. And if your club has already got a Canva ID, then I request you to reach out to your previous Vice President of Public Relations or your president. They would be able to help you with sharing the credentials for your club's Canva account. If you do not have a Canva as yet, no worries. It is something you can easily set up. While setting up a Canva account, it is completely free of cost for the basic version. And only if you need to upgrade it to the pro version, you will incur some cost. Now, what is the difference between basic and pro? With the Canva basic account itself, you should be able to create all your designs. The only limitation or the restriction that is there is some of the templates that are available in Canva might not be usable if it is the basic version. You will have to upgrade to the pro version if you want to use some of the more advanced templates. And yes, as Toastmasters, we also have a solution for this. We can upgrade to the pro version without having to incur a cost because Toastmasters is a non-profit organization. Thereby, all the clubs within Toastmasters also are covered by the non-profit clause. So we have a process by which we can submit something known as the group exemption letter. And we'll have a separate session on this as to how to procure that letter, where we will talk about, we'll show you how to do that and submit your request to upgrade to Pro. Yes, Christina, I see you have a question.
Yeah, hi there, Leena. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
We can talk later about it, but our previous VPPR reached out to headquarters last year, and they told us they don't do that anymore. So we've been paying full price for Pro because they said they weren't going to support that anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping something changed, but
yeah.
that was just not that long ago.
Yep. No, that's a valid point you bring up, Christina. And the reason behind that is so Toastmasters had to do some verification from their end. And the reason why they discontinued that is because some of these guidelines vary based on countries. So yes, when we have the session on how to apply for the nonprofit, we will go a little deeper into that. But just to give you a brief idea here, because each country has got different guidelines with respect to how to handle nonprofit accounts, that is why it is not exactly a one size fits all process, and that is why Toastmasters was not able to. But there is something, at least for clubs in the United States, because we have something called an EIN, which we get for our club. So using that, we will be able to apply for this nonprofit exemption to upgrade to pro. So we'll talk about that in detail in the session in October. But nevertheless, even if you do not have the pro, yes, you can do basic designing using the basic Canva account itself. Most of the at least there are some templates that you can use using the basic version. So with that, this is how you set up. So as I said, if your club does not have a Canva account as on date, you can easily get it set up. All you need to do is just go in with your club's email ID. Club's email ID is recommended rather than using your personal email ID. And the reason why I say this is because as you move on from one year to another, to ensure that the designs can be passed on from one PR to the other, it is better that you create it using the club's ID rather than your personal email ID, because otherwise then you'll have to forward all those designs to the new VPPR, and that's additional work that you need to do. So with your club's email ID, you will be able to create your Canva account. So this is how you go ahead with creating the account. Now for today, I'm going to be showing you, since I use the district account, I'm going to be logging into that. So this is the main landing page for Canva. And as you can see, there are several options or features you have on the left side, the left extreme tab. This is the home. Then you have a separate feature called projects, where you can, all the work that you've done over the course of the time, you can save it over here as separate projects. You have various templates to choose from, which is the best part of Canva. In Canva, there are several templates for any theme or any topic that you want, and you can easily use those templates. So if you're struggling to come up with ideas to design something, you don't have to worry. You have all the templates available on Canva. Then you have the brand kit. Then there are various other apps. If you go down, you'll have a lot of apps. You have even the AI apps, you have photo editing apps, text styling, and so many more. However, for our purposes today, we will look at some of the key features which we use for regular designing. So this is the main page, as I said. Now, if we want to create a design for a specific platform, so as I said, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have LinkedIn. I know some clubs have presence on TikTok as well. So depending on which platform you are primarily using for your club or your district, I would recommend that you can create content based on that. And little later, I'll also show you how to maybe resize some of the content if you want to cross post in another platform. So let us first start with the TI brand kit. That's the first thing I want to show you today. So I have the TI brand manual. I've just downloaded it in case it was not opening up, because it's easier to show it this way. But if you just go into Toastmasters International, log in with your Toastmasters ID, you will be able to find the brand manual. Now, in this brand manual, you'll have various elements. What are the Toastmaster logos you can download? What is the color palette that we have to use? What are the fonts that we have to use? So just a quick point here. I wanted to see what is your thought on why we need this branding? Any thoughts?
Make it look consistent, like it's all part of Toastmasters.
Absolutely. Julie, yeah, I see Vijay says consistency. Julie, would you like to add something?
Yeah, so we demonstrate the professionalism of Toastmasters.
Absolutely, absolutely. So all these points are important. And as a brand, because we've been an organization for over 100 years now, it's a long-standing organization, and it is so wide spread out across the globe. So if you see a poster which is related to Toastmasters, whether it's in the United States or on the other end of the globe, we need to maintain that consistency, that we are all from the same organization and we are able to show that professionalism. So that is the reason why we have these brand guidelines. So quickly, let me take you to the logo. So these are the various logos that are available. You have a full colored one. Here again, it used the Toastmasters brand colors. You have another one, which is the grayscale, which is just a white background with a gray logo. And you have a white one, which is more like a transparent logo that you can use. So you have these various types of logos. And if you click here, you will be able to download those logos. So I've downloaded those into my laptop. And as you scroll down, there are various the logo word marks. So I've seen many clubs and districts like to use the word mark version of the logo. you can feel free to download those and set them up also in the Canva. Then you also have the Sentinel logos. So if you go into that, each district's Sentinel logo is also available. So this is something that you can download. So for today's purpose, I'm just sticking to the basic logos so that I can quickly show you that. And likewise, I'm going to also show you the color palette. So this is the color palette. The primary colors are Loyal Blue, True Maroon. And if you notice, the brand manual calls out the color code under 4 different categories. So you have the cyan, the CMYK, you have the RGB, the Pantone colors, and the hex colors. So all these different categories, it is shown for the Loyal Blue, the True Maroon. And the secondary colors are Cool Gray and the Happy Yellow. So Happy Yellow is it's an accent color, and what it means I will show you when we are going into designing as to how you can use this as an accent color. And also Toastmasters, we can use black and white when we are designing materials. So these are all the colors that are in the brand manual. So now let us quickly go into Canva and set up the brand kit. So on the left, where you have the different menu options, one of the menu option is brand. You need to click on that. Go into brand kits. So since I'm already using the district account, we've already set up the brand kit. But for today, I'll just show you a test kit. Okay, so this is how you start. So for the colors, let's quickly add the colors. So I'm going to keep switching between these screens. I'm copying the color code and click on add new. So when you add new, it shows up some random color, and with its corresponding code, I just have to delete that and paste the one from the brand manual. So this is the maroon one. So that is added. Now we go into the next one, which is the Loyal Blue. And then let me add the Cool Gray and the Happy Yellow. So yes, this is also something in the basic version, you'll have a restriction on the number of colors you can set up in your brand kit, whereas in the pro version of Canva, you can add as many colors as you want. And of course, let me just black and white anyway, we can use it later. So we've added the colors. Now the logos, let us quickly do. I have it downloaded. Let me quickly extract that. So you have the color, the grayscale, and the white. All 3 types of logos or all 3 formats have been downloaded. So we just need to quickly, we can drag and drop it over here. So for now, I'm just dropping one of the colored one. And I will drop one of the grayscale. And you can set up one of the white. So the white is usually something, it's like a transparent one. So if you have a very dark background, you can use the white one to have a good contrast. So we've added the 3 logos. You can add your Sentinel logos and all as well here. We've added the colors. Now the next thing we need to do is the fonts. So in the brand manual, if I go to the font, yeah. So here you have the fonts that are recommended by Toastmasters. And if you notice, these fonts are very legible, very clear as against any designing template that you use. And that is the reason why it is important to use these fonts, because some other fonts that you notice, it won't be legible. When you read it in a small print, sometimes you won't be able to clearly read what the letters are. So that is why this Gotham and Montserrat, the ones that are in the brand manual, are very easy for us to read against any design. So let us quickly set these 2. So you can just select from the, if you go into fonts, you notice there is a title, there is a subtitle, there is a heading, subheading, and so on. So this is just a hierarchy of the different text that you will use when you're designing something. Title is the biggest one, or the most the one right on top. So that is why it is you have size as 42. Subtitle will be one level lower than that. So you can choose that also as Gotham. So Gotham you can keep for the title and subtitle, because Gotham is a little more bold font. So you can use that for title and subtitle. And as you move further down, for the heading, you can use Montserrat. For subheading also, you can set it up as Montserrat. So this is just how you set things up. And when we start doing the design, I'll show you how these things will show up over there. Okay, so I'll take a quick pause. Any questions on setting up the brand kit before we move along?
Leena, we have a question in chat. Do you have examples of using gradient colors?
Yep, that's a good question. So that is also available in the brand manual. So Toastmasters gives us this option as well, where the Loyal Blue, the True Maroon, you can actually set it up as the gradient as well. In fact, a lot of the designs that we use this year, we've set it up using the gradient so that there is some variation in the poster. So that is a possibility that you can set up these gradient colors also in the Canva portal. So all these three you can set it up. And same process only. You have the numbers, the color code in that, and you just have to put that in and you'll be able to do it. Okay. So this is how you set up the brand kit. And as I said, this is a one-time exercise. Once you've set it up, then you don't need to worry about it as you go along creating designs. So now that we have set up the brand kit, let us quickly see how to create a design. And for today's example, I'm going to choose an Instagram post square, which is 180, 180. So you see all the different options are there here. Instagram, you have, if you go into this and search, you'll be able to find up all the different templates that you want to do. So we are going to go into Instagram for today. And why I prefer using Instagram is, if I were to use the same design across platforms, that is across Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, this square dimension, which is 180 by 180, is more likely to be easily usable in LinkedIn as well. So LinkedIn, the dimension is 1200 by 1200. So that is also a square. So the Instagram square will suit a LinkedIn platform as well. However, Facebook is not a square dimension. It's an elongated one. So if you use the Instagram square post on a Facebook platform, what it does is it'll add a color bar on the side, some color from the post. It'll add that on both the side to fill in the additional gaps. So this is something which, if you have time, yes, definitely try to create for each of the platforms. If not, this is something that will work across platforms. Did we have a question in the chat, Julie?
I helped you with the question. We're good now, I think.
Okay. I saw something pop up. Okay. Awesome. So I'm going to show you how to design a poster, and let's take an example of maybe your club is having a workshop coming up and you want to create a flyer for that to promote that particular workshop that you're having. So what you can do is you can search for workshop, or something I learned from Julie yesterday was to search for a webinar, because we get a lot of good options when you search for a webinar or workshop. So this is something that I am going to use. So as you see, when you search on the keywords over here for whatever that you're looking at, whatever template you're looking at, you will get corresponding designs that you can use. So you have a lot of them that you can select from. And you can choose which one you like from the options that are listed. So I just went ahead with this one because I like the design elements in this. For a workshop, I feel this is suitable. It has the picture of the person, so whoever is the guest speaker, and then you have the date, you have the time, you have the contact us, the header. So all these design elements that I would look for in a workshop flyer, I find it over here. So I'm thinking of going ahead with this. Now, once I select this, how do I convert this into Toastmasters branding? So I go back into this design, templates. Right to the side of the templates, you see something which says styles. So you can click on styles, clear out this recently used. Yeah. Once you click on styles, you will see the brand kit colors that are listed here. So this is the District 100 one. Then the one that we created now, the test one is also showing up over here. So you can go ahead and select the brand kit that we just created, the test kit that we created. Now, once I select that, all I need to do is these colors, which is I think it is a black and then the green color. So black is, of course, a Toastmasters color, but the green here is not. So how do I change that? I click on styles and I try to toggle this color palette. So if you see this color palette icon here, I can keep toggling and it'll keep running through all the different options or combinations of Toastmasters branding colors. So I think I'll stop with this color because I feel this color is it's got a good contrast and I like it. So I'm just going ahead with it for now. Okay, so once we've done that, we've made sure that the colors are as per the brand. Next is we need to make sure that the font is also as per the brand. So now if I click the font, you see on top it says this font is called Barlow. And I think all of these are Barlow basically. So Barlow is not a Toastmasters branded font. So let us try to switch to our Toastmasters font. And how do I do that? I just have to click on the left here on this brand fonts. So under the test brand kit that we set up now, if I click brand fonts, all these have been changed to the Toastmasters brand font. So if you see the header is Montserrat, what we set up, and the subtext is all Montserrat. So all those have been changed. So in a matter of few seconds, we were able to take a template that was available on Canva, and we were able to convert that into Toastmasters branding based on colors and font. Now, of course, we need to change some things, like we need to remove their logo and let us go and add our logo. So for this one, I feel the white, the transparent one looks better. And again, the brand manual talks about the logo usage. We should make sure that we don't change the dimensions of the logo. So a tip here is if you're resizing the logo, make sure you hold the corner and then resize it. And the size dimensions are also mentioned in the brand manual. So I would strongly encourage you to look at that. So maybe I'll bring this down a little so that there is enough breathing space for the logo on the top. Okay, yeah. So I've added the Toastmasters logo. So the other logo, this is also something which you can add. You can choose which one you feel is more suitable for this design and you can select accordingly. So we've added the Toastmasters logo. Now, of course, the presenter's photo you will change based on who the presenter is. So for now, what I'm going to do is I have Julie's photo, which I used for the workshops. So I'm going to use that as an example now. And then, yes, we need to change all what is required. So if this is going to be a VP PR training session and some text which is like not required, you can take it off because we did discuss this in yesterday's session. We don't want our design to look too cluttered and too crowded because then people are not going to be, or their attention is not going to go to the right places. So the focal points, you need to be very careful about it. So let's keep it as minimalistic as possible. And yes, you'll add the information, your date, your time. If you feel these are looking a little small, you can try to just resize them a little. You can select all these together, that entire date and time section. You can click on group. That way you can resize them together rather than having to select each one and resize. You can just group all of them into one element and resize them. And finally, you can post your Zoom registration link, or you can mention that it is there in the description. So this is how you can quickly create content by picking up some template that is available in Canva and converting that into your brand guidelines with respect to color and the font. And of course, if you want to create multiple versions of this, all you need to do is you can duplicate this page, and let's say I have another speaker for the same workshop that my club is conducting, and that is Angel. So I just have to go and easily I can duplicate the same design. I don't have to create it from scratch. I just duplicate it and I can just change the details, the date and time. I can just change all those details. And if you want to even change the colors to give it a fresh look, that is again something you can do. Go back to design, go back to styles, and toggle between the color palette. So now you have two different look for this posters if you are wanting to have multiple posters for the same event. So I'll take a quick pause here. Any questions in this section, how to design a flyer?
Yeah, VJ had a question on how you were able to move multiple items with the picture. So maybe if you just want to show us again how to group.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so if you see each of these elements, I think let me make it a little bigger so that you can see it clearer. So Vijay, each of these elements as of now are separate. Date is separate. I mean, the word date is separate, the actual date is separate, time, each of these are separate. If I want to resize them or move them together, I need to click each one, and you can just press the control key and the shift key, and you can select all of them together. That is one way of selecting all of them together. Or sometimes I just move my mouse, but when you move the mouse, some other design element might get moved. So yeah, easier way is just hold down the shift key on your laptop and keep selecting each of them. Once you've selected all the elements that you want to club, you'll see this feature which says group. So once you click on that option of group, now it will treat it as one single object to move around. So if I want to move around, if I want to resize it, anything that I want to do, it will take care of it as a single entity rather than as separate entities. And later on, if you want to work with it separately again, you just click on that and ungroup it. It will go back to being individual elements. Okay. So this is something you can look at for even your club meetings. So if you create a template for your club weekly meetings, all you need to do is you can maybe just go change the Toastmasters photo, or you can go change the speaker's photo, or if you're having different themes for your meeting, you can go change the photos of what the theme is going to be about. So that way you can try to create multiple designs very easily in a short frame of time. The next thing I wanted to show you is the bulk create feature. And this is something which I would strongly recommend if your club is planning to do some recurring posts. What do I mean by recurring posts? If you want to do something like a word of the day Wednesdays, or if you want to do a motivational Monday. So these are some of the things District 100 is doing this year. So the good thing here is you can create one template And using the bulk create feature, which I'll show you now, you can create multiple pieces of content and you can schedule that for the entire month. In one single day, you can, take care of the whole thing. That way, you don't have to spend time every week, every Wednesday to go and post the word of the Wednesday. You can be done with the whole thing in advance for the entire month. So I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. I'm going back to, I'm going to create another one for us now. We'll take an example of inspirational quotes maybe. So in the design templates, I'm going to search for quote. And if you see, you'll have so many different templates that you can choose from. So in the basic version, yes, you might not be able to use all of them, but in the pro version, you should be easily able to use any of these templates that you like. So for the example today, I'm going to choose the first one because this is very simple. I'm just sticking to this. So this is the template I'm going to create for this quote of the week. And I have some quotes already available, which I have taken from the internet. So you can just search for inspirational quotes on leadership or inspirational quotes on communication, anything related to Toastmasters. You will find a lot of quotes on the internet. Only a disclaimer here is please double check that the author's name is accurate because sometimes it could be wrong. Like if you're taking it from ChatGPT, it might be wrong. So always just make sure that you double check because the last thing you want is to post something which is not an accurate piece of information. Okay, so yeah, I have some of these already available, which I'm using for the district. So yeah, this is what I've just taken from the internet. So the quote is there and the author of the quote, author of the quote. So like this, I have a whole list of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this. So first, let us convert this into the brand colors quickly because this is currently not in the brand colors. Before we use the bulk create, let's do that. Okay, so I go change the color. Yeah, and here I'll use this opportunity to show you the accent color, the happy yellow. So if you see, it's good to use the happy yellow as a front text and not as the background. Because if the background, imagine the entire background is yellow. Let's see if we can see that. Yeah, so the entire background as yellow might not be too easy on the eyes. So it's better to use the happy text more as a front, happy yellow as a front text and not as a background color. Okay, so once we've done this, we change the font also to the Toastmasters font. And I'm going to bring this up here as the author's name. We'll use that field for the author's name. Okay. Yep. So this is a very basic design that I've put together. Now let's see how to use the bulk create feature. So as you scroll down on the left, the menu, you will find bulk create. Below the audio here, you'll find bulk create. So you click on that. Once you click on that, this is how the page will open up. It'll ask you to enter the data manually. So I'm going to click on that purple icon. And here, if you see, it's giving me two fields, name and email, and they've given some examples. So I'm going to change this name to quote and this email field to author. Okay. And now I'm going to go back to my Excel file where I've got all the quotes and their authors. And I'm going to first select all the quotes. So I'm just going to take this many for now and paste it here. So I've selected about 8 of those quotes and I've pasted it over here. Now I'll go select the corresponding authors. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, Dale Carnegie. So we stop with that. And I paste the corresponding authors over here. Okay, so we have the quote and we have the authors. So once this is done, I say on the bottom right, you have done. So you click that. So we basically fed the data in as to what we want on the flyers. Now, the next thing we need to do is to connect the data to the element. So if you see on top here, step number 1, step number 2 is done. Step number 3 is what we are doing right now, connecting the data to the elements. So the first one is the quote. So if you see, this is the quote, right? So on top, you have this connect data button. Click on that and you connect that to quote. Okay. And the same thing we're going to do for the author. So you click this bottom thing. I'm using this field for the author's name. So click that, click on the connect data button again. And then this time I'm selecting author. So now I have connected the data to both these fields, the quote and the author. Next, I hit on continue. So it shows me how it's going to look on the left side on the menu. And finally, I click on generate 8 designs because I copied 8 quotes. So when I say generate 8 designs, it takes a couple of seconds. And then it has created the bulk feature. And if I go into that design, okay, it's taking a bit to load.
Leena, you seem to be breaking up a bit.
Okay. I think give me 1 sec. Let me turn off. Is it better now?
Yeah, it seems better now.
Okay, I turned off the Wi-Fi on my phone. Okay, yeah. So this is how the bulk feature option works. If you see that one slide that we had has now become 8 slides, and each slide has got one of the quotes that we have. I think the spacing that I used was not accurate. Maybe I should have made it a little wider and maybe a little smaller in font so that it didn't overlap with the name of the author. But yeah, that is something you can take care of. So if you see, in a matter of few seconds, you are able to create 8 designs. You can do this for as many designs as you want. And once you do it, again, if you want to change things up, you can go into the design and you can go into styles and change the color. So each week you can post a different color just to have some variety. So I saw the question from Vijay that you're not able to see bulk create. So what you can do, Vijay, is you can select, there'll be one button in that says apps, applications. So if bulk create is already not visible, if you click on apps, it will show up all the different applications and there you will find it. So it's about which are the applications that you use more frequently. They are the ones that will show up on the left. But if you click on these applications, it'll show up everything else also for you. Were you able to find it, Vijay? Once you go into apps? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, awesome. So I'll take a pause here. Any doubts on this bulk create? And as I said, you can use this for any of the posts that you want to do on a recurring basis. So it could be this word of the day or inspirational quote. So all these are ideas for you to have a consistent calendar when it comes to communication. So in Julie's first session on Monday, she was talking about having that communication plan in place. So as a VPPR or as a district PRM, it is important for us to have that plan as to what is the message we want to communicate. How do we make sure that we have that consistent promotional efforts in any of our social media platforms? So these are some of the ideas you can think of when you want to create those recurring posts. It could be even meeting recaps or meeting themes. Any of those you can use this bulk create feature. And finally, the last thing I want to show you is resizing the template. So till now I was showing you the square Instagram post. So I'll just show you if you want to use a square Instagram post on a Facebook Or if you want to use a Facebook uh, flyer on Instagram, how does that work? So I'll quickly show you that as well. So this time I'm going to create a Facebook template for you to show you. So see, Facebook is a landscape. It's more like a rectangle. It is 1200 into 630 pixels. So once I create a Facebook post, it's like a horizontally elongated one. Okay, I'll use this one itself, this Independence Day that we used recently. So this is something, if I just download, and yeah, how do you download content? You can go to this icon on top, which says share. Once you click on that, you'll see the option to download. And here, I recommend you to download it as a PNG rather than a JPG, because PNG is got a higher quality. So it's better to any of the static flyers, it'll be good to download it as PNG. Of course, if you're creating any reels, then you'll be downloading it as an MP4 file. So this is how you download and you can use it. So for Facebook, this will work perfectly fine. Now, if I want to use the same thing for Instagram, all I need to do is on the top left, right beside file, you see this button which says resize. This is again a feature that is there only on the Pro. You might not find it if you're having the basic version. So once you click resize, I go into Instagram post square and I can resize the same design or copy and resize. So you see it has basically converted that Facebook elongated template into a square template. What it essentially does is it cuts out some of the image on the sides. So you need to see if you need to make sure that if you're having pictures of your club members, you don't want anyone's head being cut off when you're doing this. So just be a little mindful of that. All you need to do is you can move it. So double click the photo and you can move it like to make sure that you have all the required things in the poster. So this is how you can use the resize option if you want to use it across platforms. Okay, I'll take a quick pause at this point. Any doubts on this before we proceed?
I don't see any questions in the chat.
Okay, awesome. So I just want to quickly now take you through. So this is the live demo part. I've covered how to set up the brand kit, how to create a design, how to change that design into the TI brand colors and font, how to add the logo, and we also saw the bulk create feature, and we also saw the resizing option. So now I'll quickly show you some of the ideas that you can think of. Now, since you know the how, I'm going to give you some of the ideas to create content. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So these are some of the ideas that you can think of when you're putting together your communication calendar or communication plan. As we saw, you can use the bulk create in Canva to create recurring posts. It could be word of the day. You could have quotes, meeting themes, meeting recaps, any of those, or even trivia. I've seen a lot of districts and clubs, they post some Toastmasters trivia, or it could be some fun questions. All those also, you can use this bulk create feature. In that way, you can just create multiple designs in a matter of few seconds, schedule them out for a few weeks put together, and then you are sorted with that. So then you can try to look at member recognition, whether it is a meeting related recognition like a best speaker or evaluator, or if they complete their level or pathways. New members, whenever you have a new member joining, that is a good opportunity for you to use that as a promotional effect for your club. You can also promote if they're giving their icebreaker, because that will be a good way to recognize the new member, as well as to make sure that you're giving the recognition to your club as well. And then member testimonials. This is again something which I've seen many clubs and districts do, because I believe that the members in your club are the best people who can attract guests for your club. They are the brand ambassadors of your club. So it is important that they share their stories. They are able to communicate as to what are the benefits they have got through Toastmasters and share those benefits with others. So member testimonials is a very good content that you can use for your social media. Celebrations, holidays, club milestones, birthdays. Birthdays, of course, just make sure that your members are okay with you celebrating their birthdays on social media. And if they are not, then we should respect their privacy. Any special meetings, open house, education sessions, workshops, any social gatherings that you have. So all of those can also be used to create content. And finally, you can repost some of the content. Like you don't have to necessarily create everything yourself. If you're seeing some good content posted on Toastmasters International social media page, feel free to share that on your district or your club's page so that you're able to reuse some of the content which is already available. So this is all just a lot. Next few slides are all just samples for you to get ideas to create your flyers. So here I've shown the importance of having images, the right image placement. And sometimes you can even try to use animation. So the post on the bottom right, if you see, has got some animation. So these are some of the very early posts that I created about 3 or 4 years back. But I just wanted to share them with you to give you some ideas. And wherever possible, try to use your clubs or the members' photos rather than using the stock photos which are available on Toastmasters brand manual, because then the guests will get to see who the members of the club are and they'll be able to identify better with the club. Few other examples. This is the member testimonial that I was talking about. You can try to use that. You can have even different formats of content. So try to not only make the static flyers, see if you can have a reel, especially on platforms like Instagram and TikTok. Reels are something that work very well with those platforms. So try to mix things up a little bit and have a few reels as well as your static posts. All these posts that you see in the bottom are all related to some sort of celebration, some sort of events. So make use of all these opportunities that you have to create content. And if you see the one that is the Toastmasters Social, that was posted as an event by the club on Facebook. So you can even try to do that. You can try to post it as an event so people can RSVP and join in as well. Few other examples. Recognition is a very good way to help your members as well as draw guests to your club. So if guests see that, okay, this is a club where I can grow as a member, I can get recognized, then that is something that they'll be drawn more to your club. So make use of any opportunity that you get. If you have a table topics winner from your meeting, if you have someone who's achieved a DTM or a pathway completion, make use of all those opportunities to promote your club and your members on social media. This is what I was talking about, where you can share helpful tips as well and reuse whenever possible. The one on the right extreme, it is a Toastmasters tip that Toastmasters International had posted on their social media page. All I did was I just reposted it on the district's page. So that is something you can try to do. So reuse either your district's posts or Toastmasters International's posts. And when you share helpful tips, that is something that a guest will relate more to. So when you're trying to attract guests to your club, if you're able to share some helpful tips to them on communication, on public speaking, that is something that will draw them in to want to know more about your club. And finally, this is one pro tip that I want to leave you with. This is something that I learned from Cheryl Rausch, who is an accredited speaker in Toastmasters. I'm not sure if any of you had the opportunity to attend this session. I have posted the link of the recording in the chat before I started my presentation. So I strongly encourage you to watch that recording. So Cheryl talks about how we need to be very sure on what is the information that we are communicating in any piece of content that we create. Because the attention span that we have as human beings is very limited. In a matter of maybe 2 to 3 seconds, we quickly scroll from one post to the other on Facebook or Instagram. So how can we ensure that whatever post we put out there is capturing the targeted audience attention, and it's making them pause and read what we are trying to communicate on that post? So she talks about these 4 things that you need to ensure that you incorporate into your design. The first one is, why should the reader join this session? So this is an example of a session that she conducted for our district last year. And the first thing is, you need to communicate clearly, why do people have to attend this session? So this was promoted primarily on the internal channel. This was not an external facing post because it was primarily for our Toastmaster members. So the language that you see and all will be more related to Toastmasters. If you're doing something for external post, you need to change the language accordingly. So here, the first point you're calling out, whether you want greater response in your promotional efforts, learn tried and proven tips, discover simple ways to attract visitors. So that's the first thing. Why should you attend? What are you going to get by attending this session? Second one is, who should join this session? So that we put in the description. We said that this is workshop is ideal for any club which has less than 15 members and is looking to grow your club. Third is the logistics. When is the session? Where do you meet? Or is it online and things like that? And finally, always have the call to action. So you need to clearly call out saying, hey, you need to register if you want to attend this session. So these points are very important when you're creating a piece of content. So whether it is for internal audience or external, see what is the message you want to communicate and what is the action you want the person to take. Do you want them to attend your club meeting? If so, you need to tell them why should they attend? What are they going to get by attending? And then you need to get into the details of the meeting. When do you meet and how do you register to join in for that meeting? So this is something I wanted to share with you. And yes, the recording is also available. So please feel free to. I'll stop sharing now. Yeah, any questions from anyone on? I know we covered a lot today, but I just wanted, there is so much more on Canva, and I think we've only scratched the surface today. We've just looked at a very few of those options and features. There are so many more things, especially with AI. You have a lot more things you can play around with. In fact, how I came across the use of AI in Canva was recently we were designing something for a holiday, and Canva didn't have a template in place. I think it was not a holiday. It was, yeah, it was I think it was the World Drowning Day. So it was like an awareness poster that we wanted to put. And when I searched for the template, there wasn't any readily available template on Canva. But the AI component in Canva was easily able to create a design for me and give me that. So I'm sure as you go along, you can play around with it and you can try to use even some of those AI features to make things easier for you on Canva. Any questions from anyone?